What if your greatest strength is also your greatest danger? Carl Jung's most disturbing discovery wasn't about mental illness. It was about perception, a kind so advanced it destroyed the people who had it. He called it differentiated perception, the rare ability to see everything others can't, micro-expressions, hidden motives, unconscious emotions, patterns buried beneath social masks. These people became mirrors society couldn't bear to look into, and what Jung saw in them terrified him. This video reveals Jung's most dangerous psychological insight, why people who see everything either collapse under the weight of perception or evolve into something extraordinary. But first, you need to understand why perception itself can become a threat. What if your greatest strength is also your greatest danger? Carl Jung's most disturbing discovery wasn't about mental illness. It was about perception, a kind so advanced it destroyed the people who had it. He called it differentiated perception, the rare ability to see everything others can't. Micro-expressions, hidden motives, unconscious emotions, patterns buried beneath social masks. These people became mirrors society couldn't bear to look into, and what Jung saw in them terrified him. This video reveals Jung's most dangerous psychological insight, why people who see everything either collapse under the weight of perception or evolve into something extraordinary. But first, you need to understand why perception itself can become a threat. Jung quickly realized this woman wasn't broken. She was reflecting the unconscious contents of everyone around her. She became what Jung called a mirror too clear, a psychological surface that showed people things they were desperate not to see. And that made her dangerous. Not because she did anything, but because people couldn't bear how clearly she saw them. They avoided her, felt exposed around her. Some accused her of manipulation, drama, or judgment, when all she did was gently name what they refused to feel. Jung wrote, "When the unconscious is seen clearly, it either demands integration or attacks the one who reveals it." This is the curse of differentiated perception. You're not the problem. You reveal the problem. And so the world turns you into a scapegoat. Jung saw this again and again. People who see the shadow become the shadow. Jung called it shadow projection, when people unconsciously attack those who reflect what they've denied in themselves. Highly perceptive individuals become lightning rods for this phenomenon. They don't create conflict, they reveal it. And that makes them dangerous in the eyes of the unconscious. You say, "This feels off." They say, "You're negative." You point out attention. They accuse you of being dramatic. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead to understanding ourselves, but only if we're willing to look inward." Most people aren't. So instead, they blame the mirror. This is why differentiated perceivers often become scapegoats, not because they cause disruption, but because their perception threatens the fragile order built on unconscious avoidance. They don't belong, not because they're broken, but because they're too awake. Not all who see deeply experience it the same way. Jung identified 4 distinct types of differentiated perceivers, each with a different mode of psychological processing. Type 1. The feeling intuitive. They don't just observe emotions, they absorb them. Others' sadness, anger, or anxiety becomes their own. Jung wrote, "They live in a state of emotional contagion." These individuals often struggle to know where others end and they begin. Type 2. The thinking intuitive. They detect hidden psychological patterns and unconsciously predict outcomes before they happen. Relationship breakdowns, career disasters, betrayals, they know it's coming, without knowing how they know. Type 3. The sensation intuitive. They feel psychological distress as physical signals, tightness in the body, headaches, nausea. Before someone even speaks, they feel something is wrong. Type 4. The pure intuitive. They perceive everything, but struggle to organize what they sense. They live in constant overwhelm, receiving data their minds can't yet structure. Knowing which type you are is the first step toward integration. Jung didn't romanticize superior perception. He warned it could become dangerous, even destructive, if not integrated consciously. He identified 3 major dangers faced by differentiated perceivers. Danger 1. Collective disruption. The one who sees too clearly threatens the shared illusions holding society together. Jung wrote, "They destabilize the unconscious agreements that maintain social cohesion." Truth becomes a threat, and the truth teller becomes a target. Danger 2. Psychological isolation. Deep perception creates distance. People can't relate to what they can't see. Jung called this the curse of consciousness. You become an island of awareness in an ocean of unconsciousness. Danger 3. Identity dissolution. The deepest threat, losing yourself. Absorbing so much from others that your own voice disappears. You become a vessel for everyone's pain, but forget your own essence. Jung called this participation mystique. When psychological boundaries dissolve and the self is overwhelmed by the collective unconscious, Jung knew that perception alone was not enough. What mattered was integration. He developed a 3-phase process to help highly perceptive individuals survive and evolve. Phase 1. Recognition and differentiation. You must first recognize what you're absorbing and separate it from what is truly yours. Jung called this conscious discrimination. What belongs to you and what belongs to others? He advised daily solitude, to let absorbed energies settle and rediscover your own authentic inner voice. Phase 2. Shadow integration. Seeing the darkness in others is easy. Seeing it in yourself is the real work. Jung wrote, "What irritates us in others often points to something unresolved within ourselves." Shadow integration means recognizing you contain every trait you see in others, without judgment. Phase 3. Conscious participation. Now you can engage the world without losing yourself. You hold others' unconscious material, but you know it's not yours. This is how perception becomes service, without self-sacrifice. Throughout history, differentiated perceivers walked among us, and their lives became case studies in what happens when overwhelming perception meets human fragility. Friedrich Nietzsche. His philosophical vision was brutally clear, but without psychological grounding. He saw through all illusions and collapsed into madness. Jung believed Nietzsche's tragedy came from lacking an inner container strong enough to hold what he perceived. Meister Eckhart. A mystic who also saw deeply, but turned perception into spiritual integration. Instead of being overwhelmed, he surrendered to the unknown. His writings don't reflect chaos, they reflect clarity born from surrender. Carl Jung faced his own descent, visions, voices, psychic breakdown. But he didn't run. He recorded everything in the Red Book, and out of the madness came method. His survival came through structure, through shadow work, through choosing to stay with the psyche, no matter how dark it got. Jung's lesson: you can't escape perception, but you can transform it. So what do? When you see everything others miss, you ground yourself. You build an inner structure strong enough to hold perception. You stop trying to explain yourself to people who can't see, and instead, you walk the path of individuation, not as a victim of perception, but as a master of it. Because perception is not the curse, it's the key, but only if you learn how to hold it without letting it consume you. You're not crazy, you're not broken, you're simply awake in a world that prefers to sleep. If this resonated with you, you might be a differentiated perceiver. Subscribe now for deeper explorations into the unconscious, shadow work, and Jungian psychology. Join this growing community of awake minds who refuse to stay asleep. Hit the bell icon. Your next psychological breakthrough might be just one video away.